What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Marsh Boys podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and today I'm joined by Mike Pomaibo, or if you're on TikTok, you know him as the Great Pombino. Is
Yep.
that a Great Bambino reference, or
Yeah. It is. So I've been playing hockey since I was a little kid, and I was in high school. And this dude on my team, actually, he was an older guy. He didn't know how to say my last name, so he was like, "Get the Pombino kid on the ice," and uh, and everybody just started calling me Pombino. And then for back in my day, back in or on like Twitter and stuff, you wanted like those play on words were like kind of funny. So yeah, I was like the Great Bambino, the Great Pombino, and it's been like that for a long time now.
and it just stuck?
Just stuck, man.
Hey, at least you didn't have to go through like 4 or 5 nicknames through high school.
Yeah, I definitely have been called worse than the Great Pombino, but I'm happy that Pombino or sometimes now my some of my TikTok buddies they call me Pombeezy and Beezy now. So those are cool. Like I said, I've been called some worse stuff, so I'm glad that that one's
So you are from the Pittsburgh area, correct?
yes, sir.
Now, Pittsgrove, or yeah, I'm from Pittsgrove. Pittsburgh, is nationally known as a waterfowl mecca, right?
Right. There's birds everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. No, so it's very surprising. Before the podcast started, I said I've never really met anybody that truly waterfowl hunts from the Pittsburgh area. How did you, let's go, how did you get into hunting in general? And then we'll go into the waterfowl deal.
Yeah, so the cool thing about Pittsburgh is if you travel, kind of like hour, 2 hours, wherever you need to go in any direction, you can find some good land to hunt. Um, so my dad grew up on 36 acres. So he hunted a bunch of private land growing up. He was a big deer hunter and a big squirrel hunter. So when I was a kid, I was just obsessed with hunting, and it was just squirrel hunting and deer hunting. But I was like totally obsessed. Um, and then I want to say, yeah, like 3 years ago, I was just watching deer hunting videos on YouTube, and I came across a 24/7 hunt video, and it had like little baby playing in the background. Everybody was like hooting and hollering, and everybody was having fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait. You don't have to like sit in the tree by yourself and be quiet. And I saw like the 24/7 hunt crew, they were all like fired up, happy to be there. And I was like, okay, wait. This duck hunting stuff seems kind of cool to me, man. So I was looking, I started watching some other YouTubers and stuff, and found out quickly that where I'm at is not like the waterfowl mecca, but about an hour away from me there was a Cabela's with some decoys. I drove, bought some decoys. I bought two pair of crappy neoprene waders off Marketplace. One
Oh,
for me,
hell yeah.
one for me, and then one for my dad. I was like, listen, if I'm wading in the water, you're coming with me, man. And so I bought him a pair of waders too. And from there, it was just a full on obsession.
So now, was the transition for you pretty easy for waterfowl? Like, have you kind of said, scrap the whole deer hunting, like when duck season's in, that's what I'm doing, and then I'll move to deer hunting afterwards?
Yeah. So the way that PA's like seasons, well, it might change a little bit because we might add Sunday hunting now.
Yep.
Um, but the way that it's kind of set up is like a sportsman's dream, in my opinion. We get the early goose season in September,
Yep.
and then we have that like kind of lull in October. We usually get like a week split in October for ducks. And then once that ends, like you get your first crack at all the woodies, some teal, which is a great time. Then the rut hits. So then I can take like end of October to like mid November and just like deer hunt my ass off. And then the whole rest of the year just focus on ducks. So like the split works out where when I'm deer hunting, I can't really be duck hunting anyway. So I haven't
Hey.
scrapped the whole deer thing. It has taken a backseat though. That's
Yeah, I mean, in Jersey, like, the one nice thing is, so I know in PA you can muzzleloader hunt 2 Sundays currently, right? But you can't bow hunt on Sundays.
they added so that you could bow hunt on Sundays. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
so Jersey, you can't gun hunt on do any kind of gun hunting on any Sunday. It's strict. Well, besides trapping, like I can go check traps on Sundays.
Mhm.
But the really nice thing is why I'm teetering on the edge so much of this Sunday hunting thing is our our deer season runs from like second, third week of September all the way to the end of January, kind of into February, depending on where you're at.
Oh wow.
So yeah, between bow season, or bow season's a constant. There's three separate bow seasons, and then your gun seasons start like end of November. They'll start coming in. So I'm always like kind of on the edge, like man, I would love to duck hunt and goose hunt 2 days a week, but I'll never deer hunt again. Never.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's funny you bring that up because one of my good hunting buddies, Chase, him and I have this conversation often where we're like kind of torn about it because Saturdays are our designated waterfowl hunting days,
hmm
and then Sundays are like the designated deer hunting day. So you can kind of get like the best of both worlds in a weekend. But like you said, if I can duck hunt Saturdays and Sundays, I'll probably never have venison again, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, I'm torn into that because I am a goose hunter through and through and through. I love to goose hunt more than anything. And if I can goose hunt Saturday and Sunday, I'll sell my crossbow, I'll sell my compound, I'll sell it all. I'll buy 10 dozen more decoys, I promise.
Right.
My wife will hate me for it, but it'll be all right.
I was gonna say that was actually one of the biggest differences in my opinion. Sure, deer hunting gets expensive, but I
But there's a
never.
cap, right?
Yeah, right.
There's
I
only
never.
so much stuff you can buy.
Right. I was gonna say I feel like when I was deer hunting more often, I was like, okay, I have everything I need.
hmm
Now, like that's it. Maybe another tree stand or whatever.
Arrows, broadheads every year, but
Right, and then I got a saddle, so I was like, well, I don't need a bunch of stands. I can just hop up in a tree real quick. But with duck hunting, dude, I'm like, do I need another dozen decoys? No.
absolutely.
Will it help? Maybe. In my brain, I'm like, I need these right now. I need more
Yeah.
duck calls. Whatever, dude. It's never ending.
So, you said you got into saddle hunting. How long did you get into that?
This past season was my third season saddle hunting. It was like a pretty typical, like I watched the hunting public and I saw a lot of those guys hunting from the saddle and showing how easy it was. And I bought like a little XOP starter kit that came with the saddle, the platform, and the sticks. At my parents' house, there's a pine tree in the backyard. And I was like, I'm just gonna learn how to climb this sucker. And my neighbors were like, this dude is weird. But I was like, dude, so I just like kind of learned that way. And then 3 seasons ago, I shot my first deer. I shot a nice buck out of my saddle, and I was
Nice.
like, I haven't shot in any other thing since.
Yeah, I bought, well, for Christmas this year, I got sticks and a saddle. I got the Latitude Method 3 saddle, XOP sticks, and then I was like, oh, I'll buy a platform sometime. Like, I'm not, realistically, once December hits, I'm done deer hunting anyway. I
Right.
try to shoot two deer, one in September, one in November, and then I'm done. I'm goose hunting, duck hunt, whatever. And Sundays I'm relaxing. But I same thing. I saw a bunch of videos. Guy that we work through Marsh boards. We're working with Milo Outdoors. He kind of got me interested in it, and then I helped him do a little bit of B-roll filming, and I was like, man, this would be really cool. So I got the stuff for Christmas, and then at the outdoor show this year, I bought a Buzzard Roost platform, and I'm like, yeah, I don't ever want to sit in a tree stand again. So I'm excited to get into it this coming season, but same thing, I got a telephone pole right up back, and I've been climbing that thing all the
Yep.
time.
Yeah, man. And that was like my biggest thing. I practiced so much that by the time it was I wanted to start on an afternoon hunt so I could see what I was doing and take my time. And I came up and came down and was like, this is it, man. This is way easier than carrying that huge like a huge hang on stand or a climb.
Yeah,
I almost fell out of a climber years ago and I was like, nope, I'm good. So
I I got like 6 feet up in a climber, and I kicked the bottom out. I was like, well, never again. Nope,
yep,
it's still in the barn.
yep. That's
But
funny. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I do really enjoy deer hunting. I honestly enjoyed a little more the last 2 years versus like I've told it a million times before. My dad got me in a hunt when I was 10. We used to go just sit in the woods because he
Mhm.
wanted to take me out. I didn't see a deer for like 10 years. It took me 11 years to shoot my first deer. I got my bow license when I was 20 or 21, and I shot my first deer 3 days after I got my bow license.
Dang.
But yeah. um, so with the waterfowl, do you have a memorable first story? Like, is there the first time you went duck hunting, whether it be with your dad, by yourself, with your buddies? Was it the first hunt that made it stick, or did you go through like some trials, tribulations to get the passion and the fire for it?
My whole first season, I didn't kill a duck.
Same.
I went a ton and I didn't kill anything. I took like 3 shots all season because I like barely saw birds. I didn't know how to call. I had no clue what I was doing. I whiffed on a Drake wood duck on opening day, like my first year. And then, like I said, like 2 other shots the rest of the season. It was miserable. Um, but I'm a very stubborn person. So when I told myself that this is something that I wanted to get better at, I like honestly, I had to force myself to get better at it because I don't know many people that would go a full season without shooting a bird and be like, I'm going to do this again next year.
It's so terrible.
Yeah, dude. Now, like, if I have 2 or 3 skunks in a row, I'm like, what am I doing? What's going on?
Yeah,
I'm selling all my
something's got
shit.
to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, it was rough, man. Um, but I think my funniest like first memory, and my dad is like my OG hunting buddy. I still get out with my dad a couple times a year, whether that's ducks, deer, turkey, pheasant. Whenever he can get out, I try to get him out. And he forgot his chair. So we had our blind all set up. I had a chair. He had this little like Coleman. I wouldn't even want to call it a cooler. It was more of like a lunchbox. And this Drake Mallard did it dirty, and I was like, "Shoot it, man, shoot it!" And he shot one time and fell like clean off of the cooler. And dude, we didn't even care that he missed. We were just like laughing so hard, dude. And I was like, "You can't do this deer hunting." If I was
Yeah.
cracking up like this, my dad would be like, "Shut your mouth." So I was like, "This is for me, man. This is a good time." So that was like my first like duck hunting memory that I was like, okay, wait, this is funny. Like I like this.
Yeah. Please tell me that story gets brought up at Thanksgiving every year.
Dude, I think my dad once a month we talk about it. Like he sees like a duck decoy and he's like, "Oh, dude, remember that time we went hunting? We didn't
Yeah.
shoot shit, but I fell clean off the cooler." Dude, it comes up all the time, and it's so funny, dude. So that made it stick, and then from there, I actually said this on the One Hell of a Life podcast, man. That next year on opening day, like I said, I was like determined to kill a bird. And my dad and I were sitting in the weeds in a marsh stool, and a Drake wood duck came by at like 20 yards. I shot it, dropped it, and like instantly started crying. Like, and I'm not like too proud to admit that, dude, I was like, I sat in the cold for a year straight, a season straight, and it seemed like everything came together. Like I scouted, I found birds. Um, I, had better gear, like more gear. I had decoys out. I was like understanding it. I was learning how to call. And so when I shot that bird, I was like beside myself. And then 30 seconds later, another one came by and I shot that one too. And my dad was like, "You're crying. You shot a duck, dude." I was like, "You don't get it, man." I was like, "I worked hard for this." So yeah, dude, those were like 2 of the memories of duck hunting, like my first like true memories of it, where I was like, I'm gonna be a duck hunter for life now, just because of these 2 moments.
That's awesome. Now, kind of the same kind of top or subject. I shot my first deer with a gun this year.
Mhm.
Remember, I told I'm 27 now. It took me 17 years to shoot a deer with a gun. And
Yeah.
in New Jersey, that is asinine. If you don't shoot a deer with a shotgun by 15, you have gone completely off the rails. Well, for the last like 5 years, I really gave up on it. And I was going to go, I had a couple smaller bucks on camera. I'm way much more of a fill the meat or fill the freezer kind of guy versus a big rack. I do like to shoot. I have a couple mature bucks I've shot, but um, I took my gun out and I said, the first deer with horns, any kind of bone above the ears, is done, is getting shot. I have tried this for 17 years. I am not going home until I shoot a deer tonight. So I climb up in my stand. It's like 4 o'clock. I got an hour and a half of daylight. And I'm very habitual about time. I'm very OCD. I watch my cameras all the time. I kind of have a general idea. So I'm watching my phone and I'm like, okay, it's like 5 o'clock. Deer should be here in about 20 minutes. And 20 minutes, the deer didn't show up. And now it's like 10 minutes to shooting late. And I'm like, shit. all right, well, I guess I'm going home then. So I'm kind of not really putting everything in my bag, but like put my phone in my pocket, put my pouches away, stuff like that, little stuff. And I hear the crunching. Here they come. Well, I have these two little does on camera. This one doe gives me two babies every year, and I get to watch them grow up. It's really awesome. I love it. And and then behind them, I see what I thought was a 9 pointer that I've been having on camera, and I just instantly, it looked like I turned into an epileptic nightmare. And I'm like, what am I doing? I've shot a deer every year, two deer every year for the last 10 years. What am I doing? So I get the gun up, and as I'm getting the gun up, it hangs on my hoodie, and I'm
Oh,
like, there's no way. So it's hanging, and finally he looks away, and I pull the trigger. He drops like a sack of potatoes, and I called my dad, and it looked like if I wasn't tied into that tree, I'd have been on the ground. I could not stop. I was spazzing, and he's like, "You must have shot the biggest deer in that area." I'm like, "I shot a 4 pointer, dude." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "I shot a 4 pointer, and I feel like I just shot a 204-inch whitetail."
oh, I love it.
Yeah. So he made fun of me for about a week after that, but
Nah, dude, I love that stuff. I'm like the same way, man. I know that there's a lot of, greenhead purists out there and whatever, but dude, I get so happy to be out there, dude. If I
yep.
have the chance to, I'm healthy enough to get out there and birds are, backpedaling into the spread. If I shoot at one bird, dude, I'm so fired up, man. So I love when you said that, like,
Yeah.
because I don't know. I like being around like my buddies that also get excited for it, not just like, oh wow, I shot a duck. I've shot 100 of these. Like I don't know, man. I still get so fired up for
Oh, every time a goose does it dirty, feet down above the decoys, and it gets shot, I am like a little kid on Christmas.
it.
The limit's been one here this year.
Oh no.
So me and my buddy Ryan, uh, yeah, thanks, Maryland. But anyway, limit went down to one this year, and we went out a couple times by ourselves, and we shot two geese. And he's like, "Why are you set? Like we're going home. We just set 8 dozen decoys in the middle of this field that we had to walk them out in, and you're like freaking out over two geese." And I'm like, "It'll never change. And if it ever does, I'll sell the trailer."
Yep. No, man. That's so well said. Because I'm out there. I have the chance to do it. And speaking of two geese, dude, on our last day of goose season, my buddy and I went out, and these two geese, they just did it nasty, and they did it on my side of the spread, and I doubled, and I was like hemming and hawing, just Ric Flair, woo, all over the place, dude. And I don't even care, man. Some people can be like, "Oh, that's lame. You only shot two geese," but I was like, "Dude, I'm here for the love of the game, man."
Yeah.
So I'm always down to have a good time.
Now you're a very religious man,
I am.
as I've seen on TikTok, and I think that's why I connected with your page at least pretty quick.
Yeah.
Do you think God went, all right, we're going to make this kid suffer for an entire year. He's going to freeze. He's going to work his ass off. And then if he sticks to it, because I know in the Bible, patience is a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, all right, if he sticks to it, we'll see what he can do. And he put them in front of them two wood ducks there.
100%. I think that, without that first year, um, that to me was a true test from God. He knows that I'm not always the most patient, and that is exactly why I know it now that I had to go through that first year of hunting, because if I went out and got spoiled right away, my head would have been this big. I needed humbled, and I needed, those trials and tribulations to get what I was after. So I 100% think that that first year was a big sign from God, because he said, "You're not always patient, Mike P. So you're going to have to like learn some over the course of this year, man." So yes, I definitely think so, for sure.
Now, on a more physical sense, what do you think was your biggest learning curve from year one to year two? Do you think there was something you did other than, let's say, other than scouting? Because I know scouting is the biggest part of waterfowl. Is there something that you think you did other than scouting that helped make that jump to, like we just talked about, the trials and tribulations to being successful out in the field?
I think that other than the scouting, the one of the two things that really helped me that second season, the first thing was the hide.
Okay.
I never I never realized how big of a deal it was, because I was like, dude, I'm in camo. Like I'm good. And then, as I got exposed to it more and I watch more videos and I meet more people, they're like, your layout blind is like not brushed in at all. Of course, the
No.
birds are going to pick you out of a crowd. And I'm like, really? But that second year, when I was really like trying to learn how to beef up the blind and be still, that was like a huge game changer. And then for me, learning to call, but learning when to call was like a huge
Yes.
thing too. Because that first year, I probably sounded like a constipated crow. And I was like, I guarantee I was like hammering at them. And I'm like, I have no clue how to read the birds based on like my calling. And then the second year, after, like I said, watching some videos and stuff, like really like hitting the birds hard on the corner and then shutting up when they're looking at you was like a huge thing. Cause I was just like, oh, I'll just keep doing this. That sounds like a bunch of ducks, right? And then they flare, and I'm like, what's going on? But the
Sounds
high,
like a bunch of ducks in them layout blinds.
yeah, man. So learning how to hide and then learning like more when to call than how to call was those were like the two big things that like I really started like putting two and two together. Like, oh, this is how it works.
Yeah, I think that, and that's one thing. So the last few podcasts, we've done, it's been kind of heavy on the calling side, and it's something I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
Um, and that's one thing that we haven't brought up yet is yes, learning to call is one of the best tools you can possibly do. I think last podcast or two podcasts ago, I talked about it. You can go spend $1,000 on 20 dozen decoys, right? And not call at all. And you might kill some birds. Or you can spend $120 on this thing that sounds like what you're trying to kill and that they react to it, and you can make a lot more with a lot less. Anyway, but the one thing I haven't touched on is knowing when to call. I went through the same deal when I really progressed as a goose caller. I got very happy when it was my time to shine and blow a goose call at birds that I just went 100 mile an hour.
Hmm.
I threw everything I could at these birds, and I'm like, well, what the hell? Why are they turning away? Same thing as you. And then after a couple hunts with some guys that have been doing it for a while that really knew how to call, really knew when to call, I learned, there's times where you just shut up. If
Hmm.
if, if the birds are working, you ain't got to say nothing. Just shut up and watch them do their thing. And it's the same way with ducks. I think ducks are a little more reactive when it comes to knowing when to call. I think you can over call at ducks way quicker, way faster, way easier than you can at geese. But yeah, that's a great point you brought up. Now, to the call, since talking about it, with the calling aspect, is there anything, what, trying to frame how to ask this.
Yeah.
Did you start with it like a J frame style, like a regular single read, or did you kind of go right? Because I see on your page you blow a lot of cut downs.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. I actually started with DR85.
Great.
It was perfect. It was cool. I was able to make basic duck notes and sounds out of it. Um, And if you know me, I like stuff. So once I saw that people were like, oh, this call is shaped this way, and the reeds are cut this way, and this one only has one reed, and this one is a cool color, and then people have huge collections of them, I instantly was like, take all my money. I want a bunch of these. Um,
You
but yeah,
definitely shouldn't join the Facebook group Call Nuts.
dude, I'm on there like way too much. It's actually it's a problem. I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't need a duck call, and then it's like anybody want to trade, and I'm like, oh.
absolutely.
um, but yeah, man, I just started blowing that Haydale's call, and then I got like a Buck Gardner double nasty. I got a bunch of like easy to blow double reads, and then as I started watching more like YouTube, guys are like, you can get this like loud, high, like heavy bark cut down, and then they were like, but it takes a little bit more like air control, and then I bought a little the R&T, the quack heads.
Yep.
I bought uh a Mondo LT. I learned how to blow that thing, and then from there it's like J frame cut down. I just like having a bunch of duck calls now.
Yeah, I mean it's the same way with me with goose calls. I just bought another goose call and wait till my wife finds out about that. She might kill me. Uh, but no, and it's always been like every one of these calls I have, except for maybe a couple, have been on my lanyard at one point or another because
Yeah.
I'm never settled. It was the same thing. I've raised cows. We have goats. I like different. I would sell most of my cows every year and just buy new cows because I
Yep.
like the difference.
Yep.
But is there a call that you found that you really fall in love with that really helped you progress as a caller? You would say
Yeah. So the first call that I really started like figuring it out was
because you sound pretty good. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good, man. Thank you so much. My fiance will be like, yeah, it's because he blows the duck call 24/7 and pisses me off. Um, but it's good to hear that the practice is working out.
absolutely.
But the first call that I like really got into with the calls was I bought a threaded keyhole insert Kirk McCullough cut down.
Okay.
It's like bright orange, and that was when like I started blowing it, and I was like, okay, I like this call. I can control the air well. It sounds good. I was like, and it's a Kirk McCullough call, so I was like, I was super into it. Um, I run that call a lot, and then recently, thank you, Call Nuts. Um, I got a Pacific Calls PCD. It's like it's like a hybrid style call,
Yep.
and I feel like I can rip on that thing. And that's another call that I was like, okay, dude, I like this thing. This thing is gonna stay onto the lanyard. Um, and then I guess another call that really helped me out too was I got an LA cut singleton, and
Ooh,
I got
fancy.
it in a single read, and I couldn't quite get the hang of it.
It's a tough transition. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was difficult. I really was like, I could work at this a little more, but then I had a buddy that was like, dude, why don't you just call Devin and have him tune it to a double read? So I think it's really cool that you can like, if you, I had a question for Devin, I got the number off the website and was like, hey man, I bought this call a while ago, whatever. He was like, send them to me. He tuned it to a double read, and that thing is nasty.
Yeah.
So those are the three calls that have like kind of changed the game for me a little bit. I love those three calls.
Yeah, what I love about the call industry is, and it's so much different than every other industry. So, if you look at the call industry, you want a question about a call, you can hit up Seth Fields, you can hit up Tim Grounds, you can hit up Jeff Foyles, you can hit up anybody over at RNT, whoever you want to talk to with the big companies. It's like their phone number is just out there in the blue.
Yep.
If you want to call Walmart and ask them about pick something, you're going to have to talk to AI for 3 hours before you might get the operator that has no clue on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I love that. I really do. I love the personal connections with the call industry. It's just, it adds a whole new layer to it. Just like you
Right.
said.
That's okay.
No, go, you're good.
Yeah, and like I said, when a buddy of mine was like, dude, I bet you could just call Devin at Singleton Game Calls and be like, hey, this is like what I'm thinking. And you see, like I saw him on Instagram and he's hunting with all these like people, and I'm like, he's kind of like a celebrity in like the call game. And he just answered. He was like, yeah, man, what can I help you with? And I was like, this is my problem. And he was like, dude, I have the perfect solution for you. Send it to me, and I'll send it back after I tune it, and it'll be great. And it was great, and it was awesome. And so that accessibility was cool, man, because I had a problem, and like you said, instead of like chatting with a chat bot or like waiting 3 days for someone to email me, I called him,
Yep.
and he was like, yeah, we'll hook it up, man, no worries. So that was sick.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've gone through so many calls, it's not even funny. And it is really, really great. Now, so you do run cut downs, J frames, stuff like that, a mix of both. I'm assuming they're both on your lanyard when you go.
Mhm.
Have you found are you using one more than the other?
Yes, I will say that I have this little Echo DRT little double read that I just like naturally pick up and hit. Um, but I've noticed sometimes, I guess it's kind of situational. Maybe I sound like a little bit extra here because I know a lot of guys just run like one duck call forever and that's it. But I will say, if I'm hunting, if I'm hunting like a big, like open water lake, and the birds can hear me a little further out because there's no trees or anything in the way, I will pick up my cut down instantly, so I can try to like holler at them and be a little louder. And then I found that like most of the time I pick up my double read, my J frame call. But I will say, like I said, if it's like an open lake or something, nice big water where the birds can, sound travels a little further out, I will pick up my cut down and use that for sure.
Nice. So we've talked about how scarce waterfowlers are in the Pittsburgh area. What is the hunting like? Are you hunting mainly open lakes? Are you finding ditches, ravines, rivers, stuff like that? What's the landscape look like most of the time?
We are hunting anything and everything. Um, and the thing is, a lot of the time, like my buddies and I were traveling. Um, we have hunted in like a couple of the neighboring states before. Um, but really where we're at, there's not too much close by. So we're
Okay.
always on the road. Um, I will say I liked field hunting. Last year was the first year I had a chance to hunt a field, or
For ducks
two
or
seasons ago. Both ducks and geese.
very nice.
Um, and when I was in the layout, dude, I was like, this thing is kind of comfy. So I was like, if I can get some permission on some fields, I was like, that'd be cooler because this is kind of nice, man. I like this. Um, but we're hunting anything and everything, whatever wherever we can find birds. But I will say, like I said, I like the field hunting, dude. I shot my first greenhead ever out of a field. Um, and I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as hunting over the water, but I was like, wait, I kind of like this, man. This is
Yeah.
fun.
I tell you, and I had the same thought too. So for a long time, I only owned floater decoys, especially with goose hunting. My uncle lives right on the lake. I hunted that lake forever, and it was just like I knew if I went out and set a dozen goose decoys, I was going to kill my 2 to 4 birds, whatever the limit was, and I was going to go home.
Mhm.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm watching everybody. That's when I started getting into YouTube and stuff like that. I'm like, everybody hunts geese in a field. What am I doing?
Yeah,
And I bought a couple dozen Bigfoots, and it was like, okay, I should probably just sell my floaters at this point. But I couldn't remember the last time I hunted geese. I shot a goose over water. It was probably,
yeah,
you know what? No, I shot one this year. I lied. I shot one this year, but that was just they were flying over, and I reached out and touched him. So
right. Yeah, dude, the field hunting was cool. Um, and I got into the field hunting a little more. Like you were saying, I watch a lot of waterfowl YouTube.
who's your
Uh,
favorite YouTuber? If you don't mind answering that.
yeah, I have a couple guys that I look at. I think for different things. I've been watching a lot of Cade Tricky
Yep.
lately. Dude, he's just like so raw. Like you could feel that he is there. Like it's almost like he was like meant to do it. Like he's there with a purpose.
Yeah.
Which I really like a lot about him because he shows his emotion. Where I feel like some guys are like, oh, whoop de doo, I shot a duck, but like he gets into it and he's fired up. I watch him a lot. Um, my buddy Brian at Migration Waterfowl, he's been posting. He had a couple really banger hunts, especially like up north in Canada last year. He's put out some good videos. Um, for field hunting, I watch a lot of Cole Townsend.
Yep.
I mean,
That's a good one.
dude, he kills birds. And so he was like kind of like my field inspiration guy. Um, and then I guess Brian Ellithorpe, Too Many Hobbies. He actually became a friend of mine. I got to hunt with him this year, so it's kind of funny. I
Awesome.
watched him on YouTube, and then he's like another guy. He keeps it just like super real. Like he's there and says, you know what, I might not kill my limit every single time, but here's me filming, what I did today, which is cool. It doesn't seem like fabricated at all.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So those are some guys I watched when I was first waterfowl hunting. I watched a lot of Hoke Outdoors and Outdoor Limits. They put out like a lot of calling videos, decoy
Yep.
videos, how to find spots. Not that I don't watch them still, but when they were like huge parts in me learning how to duck hunt when I first started because of all of their like tips and tricks videos.
I got you. Yeah, I YouTube is one of, in my opinion, one of the best and worst guides for. I mean, especially hunting. There are so many, like and on the deer hunting side. Seek One does a really, really good job. Love them or hate them, they do a really, really good job of not only showing a deer hunt on how it's supposed to be, but they show you how to go get permission. They show you how to talk to people. Like I said, you love them or you hate them, but they do it the right way. Same thing with waterfowl. There's very few big channels that are going to show you how to do something the wrong way. They're going to help you in some way if you're paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you so you're is do you do a lot of field hunting now, or is it still mainly in the water?
It's still mainly in the water. I'd probably say it's like a 80-20 split
Okay.
still in the water. Um, but yeah, it's like the fields that we hunt that we have permission on, they're very situational. There's like certain times of the year with certain weather where my buddies and I were like, okay, we know that this field versus this field is going to be super hot, and then we'll go scout it and be like, okay, yeah, the birds are hitting this field now because these things kind of lined up. So I'd say 80-20, but I still get in the field a couple of times a year.
Have you started investing in field decoys, or you let your buddies take care of that side?
Yeah, it's a group effort. Um,
Awesome.
So like opening day this year, we had I think five of us. My buddy Zach, he came over. He brought a bunch of full bodies. My buddy Brian, who I hunt with, he brought field decoys. My buddy Chase, he brought his field decoys. I brought mine. Um, I think you saw on TikTok. I recently invested in the top down decoys. Um,
Absolutely. Best
so I
decision
got
you've ever made.
dude, yes, I got two dozen of those. I have some full bodies, I have some silhouettes. I kind of mix everything in. Honestly, I just see a good sale and pick those up. So I have a little decent little field spread now,
Awesome. How do you like the top downs?
dude. So I at first was like, maybe like some other people, a little skeptical, but
Mhm.
then once I figure out how to put them together, and then like flip it over, and now it's a snow goose. I was like, dude, this like the the ease of use was nice too because like
Yeah.
we were talking to I'm not carrying more than I need to. I'm a one trip back. If if this happened to actually it's like a funny story with some of my hunting buddies from this year, but if I can't pull it in my sled in one trip or carry it on my back in one trip, I'm not bringing it. You can do whatever you want to make 5 trips, go right ahead. But guess what? I'm making one trip and that's it.
Yeah.
So I stacked my 2 dozen of them up. I put them on the stakes already, stacked them up. And I was like, dude, these things are easy to carry in and out. So I like this so far.
Yeah, they're super convenient, and I mean I know we're sponsored by them and everything, but like it's you can't beat them. I
No,
like the size of them, the detail of them, the easiness of them. Everything about them is just great, and it's something that nobody else has. You know, them horizontal decoys, they're great for right around your kill hole, up on the north on the upwind side of everything. They're perfect filler decoys.
yep. Yeah, and one thing that I like too, my buddy Chase, him and I, we hunt together most, him and I, and we're even in the off season, we're bouncing ideas off of each other. We just have the bird flu constantly. Um, but we were both talking about
I
like
don't know if you're allowed to joke about that right now.
we get the itch to go hunting, often. So we bounce back and forth a lot, and we were both like, we don't see many snows in this area, but we're like, wonder for some visibility if we should, throw 6 here, 10 there, just to mix them in. And then when I saw the top downs, I was like, great, run a dozen of them this way, run or whatever, run 10 of them snow geese and put
Yeah.
them in there and see how it works.
Yeah, there's been so many times this season, especially with the weather we had and the snow geese pushing as early and as often as they did. There's been a few times where we went hunting, set a Canada spread, saw small groups of snow geese came over, flipped them right over. We
Yep.
didn't kill them, but the option's there, and
Right.
it's great. It's super handy, and if anybody knows snow goose hunting, I mean, a dozen decoys is going to help with small groups, but when you're really into it, you're packing in 2,000, 3,000 decoys. So the top downs really make that trek a lot lighter.
Right. That's my next thing I want to get into. I never shot a snow goose before, so I'm hoping that
I sold all my snow goose decoys this year, if that tells you anything. I sold them all. I had like 20 dozen. I sold them and invested in 4 dozen more Canadas.
yeah, maybe I'll have to put the snow geese on the back burner, but that'd be a fun trip someday.
Do you guys see a lot of snow geese in your area? I'm sure Lake Erie and south of that, but towards you?
Not really. I've only seen a couple of snow geese just like on some lakes and stuff. I've never like been in the field and been like, "Oh, no way, that's a snow goose. That's cool." Never, not even one time.
You've never seen a big feed, nothing like that?
When I was not like here where I live,
Gotcha.
a couple
Okay.
of years ago, I went down to Missouri duck hunting, uh,
Ooh, nice.
and we probably saw like the dude I was hunting with said probably like anywhere between 10, 15,000 snow geese, like totally blacking out the sun with how many
It's
birds there
crazy,
were.
isn't it?
Dude, you could hear them from miles away. It was insane. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
And it's just a blob of sound.
Yep.
I've been under one. They didn't really spin. They started to. The wind picked them up, carried them over to the next field. But it was probably 8,000 birds. And I mean, you can't talk to the guy next to you. Like they can't hear you. You're talking and you're like, what? It's insane. I do love that aspect of it. I hate that you have to have like 5 grand just to get started with a spread,
Right.
but because I am very much the guy, if I want to go do something, I'm going to buy everything to do it. Just recently, yeah, just recently I've had Ryan invest in a couple dozen decoys just so I can say, yeah, well, you have some in there too. You got to go now. But when I started hunting, I bought my own duck decoys. I bought my own boat. Now I have my own trailer. If I want to go hunt, I'm gonna go hunt. I don't
Yep.
want to rely on anybody.
No, dude, I'm the same way. Um, the PA Duck Crew, we have our group chat. The PA Duck Crew has been like a really awesome crew for all right, you bring this, you bring this, you bring this. But I'm still like mentally, like you're saying, I'm the type of person that like I want to get my own stuff. So if at any point nobody can go hunting with me, I could still do it all by myself.
Yep.
So I'm the same way. Once I got into it, man, I was like, I need this and this and this. And people are like, oh, you know what? Like combine your decoys with a buddy to start. And then I was like, nope, I'm just gonna get my own just because that's how I am.
Yep. Yep. Like I said, you don't have to rely on anybody. If everybody's busy on a Saturday morning, you're like, well, I could still sneak out for an hour or two, go kill a couple birds with
Yep.
my own stuff. And I think there's a pride aspect in it. I've killed plenty of birds over my decoys. I've killed more birds over other people's decoys. And I think it does add a layer, to that. You're like, okay, I put all this time, I put all this effort. Money's not a thing with hunting, but I put all this money into it. And we just went out and killed a couple birds over it.
Yep.
You know, I put the miles in on the truck, stuff like that. So now,
Yeah.
speaking of that, you do say, or you said you don't really hunt your general home base, right? You kind of
Mhm.
travel here, travel there.
Mhm.
How how do you go about scouting? Do you just take the time during the week and get out there and do it, or
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, it is just a absolute shitload of miles and tanks of
yeah,
gas.
yeah,
That's what it is. Um, that's why with like I said, with our PA duck crew, we have had it down to a science where I would be like, all right, boys, this is where I'm scouting on, Thursday. Here's where I'm going Friday. Brian over at Migration Waterfowl will say, great, this is where I'm going to go. This is where I'm going to go. My buddy Chase will say, okay, this is where I'm going to go. And, wherever. And we all just spread out. Um, so it is definitely like a crew effort for the scouting.
that's
I
awesome.
will definitely say too, there have been times where I'm like, okay, I haven't had the chance to scout. He hasn't had the chance to scout. He didn't find birds, and we're like, all right, we're just gonna have to. We call it a Hail Mary. We have to Hail Mary it sometimes. I've done it.
Absolutely.
I wish I had the time and all that crap to go out and scout before every single time I hunt, but I mean, we've all been there. You're like, all
Yep.
right, I would rather get out there than not go at all. So I might as well take it for a spin.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes that creates the best hunts because I'm sure you use Hunt Stand Onyx something like that, and in those circumstances you're looking for lakes, ponds, streams, and you're like, hey, this could hit. Have you ever had one where it's a complete Hail Mary and it turned into a great time?
Yeah, there were a couple hunts um this year that I was with so me, my buddy Zach, and my buddy Chase, we're hunting an area none of us have ever hunted before, and it was like really just too far away for us to get there, drive back home, hunt the next day, whatever. And we were like, all right, this is where we're going. We grabbed the kayaks, and we only ended up shooting 3 birds that day. We shot 1 bird apiece, but it was honestly one of the most memorable hunts I've ever been on.
That's awesome.
I shot my first gadwall this year. And I was that.
Nice.
Um, we got some good footage. We got some good laughs. We found a blind in the middle of the water. We were like hanging out, dude. It was just so fun, and we just went in there blind. And the weren't a ton of birds, but it ended up being a great time.
Yeah, and I can already tell. I can really appreciate the way you go about it. It definitely seems like you're more of a quality versus quantity guy. Whether that be with gear, how your hunt went, your friend group, stuff like that.
Oh, dude, for sure. And I know that we had, talked about the TikTok I made about the Sermon on the Mount. And when Jesus was talking about Christianity 101 to the disciples, he didn't go to a church. He went outside on the hill. He talked about, the flowers in the valley. Um, and he talked about the birds. And that is like where I feel, you know, Christ the most. And so I'm like, you know what? If I can get out there, man, I don't have to shoot. I've said it before too. I always say one duck is enough for me.
Yep,
I don't need, a bunch of, I don't need a limit every time I go out to enjoy myself and appreciate God's nature. And
yep.
I'm just there to live it and have a good time, man.
Yeah, I said this before, the 2 episodes ago, and I'll say it every time I get the opportunity to. You can go to church every Sunday if you like. That is for some people. That may not be for you, that may not be for me, but that is for some people, and that's where they find God. I have never felt closer to God than sitting knee deep in the worst smelling mud that you could ever imagine at 6:17 in the morning, watching more birds go over me than I will see after legal shooting light.
Yep.
And knowing the appreciation, not only legally is hunting's not a right, it is it's now I'm blanking. Anyway, you are you are able to go hunt. You
Yep.
know, and you are able to go spend time in God's creation. You can get closer to God that way. And like I said, I find everything about hunting to be the most romantic way to step into God's front porch.
Yep.
And it just watch the world wake up, watch everything around you work as it should naturally. I don't, that's where I go.
No, amen, dude. My thing since I was a kid, my dad would always say, my dad's not a very serious hunter. 9 times out of 10, you find him cooking for everybody because he doesn't care if he shoots anything. If I shoot something and he gets to make a good meal and we get to spend quality time together, like that's his thing. So he'll always say,
Privilege. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Hunting is a privilege. There you
yep,
go. All right, sorry.
no, you're good, man. No worries. And my dad always say, I'm just taking my gun for a walk. And he's cool, man, because he's so laid back. Sometimes we'll be hunting. He won't be sleeping, but his eyes will be closed. He'll just be taking it all in sometimes. And that's really where I feel, closest to the Lord is when I'm out in nature with some of my best friends, my dad, just like you said, it could be the worst circumstances ever, but I'm just appreciating every moment of it, especially with the hecticness and craziness of the world and things going on. And like we could just slow down for one morning, and hang out together and feel the Holy Spirit around us. And that's important to me.
Yep. The one thing, and before I kind of move on from this,
Yeah.
the closest I've ever felt to God was we hunted Long Island a couple years ago. I went up and met my buddy up there. We hunted out in New York, Long Island, New York. We got out there, it's perfectly calm, still water out in the bay on the east side of Long Island. About 9 o'clock, we'd killed a couple birds, had a really good time. We started getting like 4 foot rollers. Now we're in a 17-foot havoc trying to get 2 miles across an open bay back to the boat ramp. And when we got everything packed up, we hauled ass across the bay and everything went calm. You look to the left, you look to the right, there's 4 5 foot rollers crashing. The straight line to the boat ramp was perfectly flat.
Crazy.
We got there, we turned around, got the boat loaded, and it was just like somebody said, all right, you're going to make it back today. We're going to take a 10-minute pause in the weather. You're going to get back. And then when you turn around, you're going to see as if we made that lane just for you. And,
Yeah.
and that's what it felt like. Cause we turned around and there's 4 foot coming across where we were just at. I mean, it was
Crazy,
nuts.
dude.
Yeah. I never experienced anything like that. If somebody would have told me that before, I'd have never believed it. But I'm telling you, you looked a mile to your left, a mile to your right. It was just, you would have never made it more than 100 yards in the boat we were in.
Yeah.
All the way back to the boat ramp, we were fine.
Dang, dude. Thank you for sharing that with me, man.
Yeah,
I'm moved. Thank you for sharing that with me. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So, not to move on that quickly, but
Yeah.
I do want to get into how you started with TikTok because I think what you're doing on TikTok is amazing. You're taking it from a different perspective as somebody who wants to know everything. You don't get on TikTok and praise that you know everything. This is what you need to buy. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to wear. You're saying this is what I wear. If you want to do it, fine. This is the call I blow. If you want to blow it, fine. This is how I hunt. This is who I talk to. Anyone like that. How did you get started? Like, what gave you the motivation to kind of start posting, like POV stuff on TikTok?
Yeah, I when I first started making TikTok videos, which is coming up on like a year now, I had seen a lot of like the TikTokers, some people, not everybody, kind of being like, "This is it's my way or the highway. Like this
Yeah,
is how you need to hunt. This is the gear that you need to wear, whatever." And I kind of just let myself be vulnerable, man. Like I just let myself say, like, I don't know everything. I'm like been fully transparent about being a beginner, and I feel like it was kind of a different perspective than everybody else was like bringing. I feel like a lot of people were saying like I've been hunting forever. These are the things that have worked for me. And me, it's kind of like a trial and error basis. It's like I don't know what the hell I'm doing 99% of the time. So I'm just going to show you guys, hey man, this is what I'm doing. Um, but I think one of the things that motivated me too is, like I said before, I'm a talker. I always got in trouble in school. Teachers said I had like a big personality. It was like their nice way of telling me that I was annoying.
yeah,
Um, and I was like, dude, I can really just like show who I am as an individual while also showing this thing that like, this niche that we all share. Um, and that's why I was like, dude, this is cool, man. I can be myself authentically and unapologetically myself. And then, just show people that, hey, just because you're a beginner doesn't mean that, you can't post your success and you can't post like your journey. It doesn't just have to be the guys that have a bunch of sponsors and a big name that can
yeah,
post, show you what's going on. I'm just a regular dude, just showing my appreciation for the outdoors and learning a new skill at the same time.
yeah. And I mean, I think everybody should be able to get behind that. And I mean, I think if I just went blank there for a second, but I can completely respect the way you're going about it. Like I
Thanks, man.
said, you're not getting on there and be like, oh, well, you need to wear a Supreme hat and wear this pattern clothing. Also, I've never seen a duck hunter wear a Supreme hat, and I love it.
Thanks, man.
So, have you found that there has been a lot of positives that come from the TikTok side?
Dude, it's so funny. Like I know I always post about like my Yinzers group chat. It's me, Jaden, Dawson, and Biscuit. Dude,
Okay,
we come from like four corners of like the US basically. We've never met each other in real life, but we've become like the best of friends. And
that's
it's
awesome.
all through this common, hobby of duck hunting and making videos. And I've had more positive experiences than negative experiences. Like when you and I started messaging each other, and then my buddy Jaden was like, "Dude, Brian's
Jaden's
awesome."
really good people. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I mean, he said the same thing about you. He's like, "Brian's a cool dude. Like, he's a great guy." And I was like, "I'm forming all of these like positive, genuine relationships with guys over this thing that we all love together." I mean, I have had some like wild negative comments, but I usually like say something back, and then I'm like, is this worth it for me to argue with this person on the internet? Like,
I delete all our negative comments. I'm gonna
dude,
be
that
completely honest.
so much easier that way too. Sometimes I'll throw like a your mom joke in there sometimes. And then I'm like, like I'm just playing around, man. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's been more positive than negative for sure.
That's all. Yeah, I mean, with the whole podcast, the connections mean more to us than any limit, anything in the world. Well, I've gotten to talk to some of my heroes in the hunting industry. Just 2 episodes ago, I had Jeff Foils on for the second time.
Sick.
I love Foils. I think he's one of the best to ever do it. His calls, I have sent him so much money. We've got to talk to Jeff Stanfield and so many more names. And it's been incredible. And every single one of them people were inviting. I never
Right.
had to beg anybody to come talk to us for an hour. I didn't
Right.
have to beg you to come talk to us for an hour. And it's just every week we get to do this and we meet somebody new. It's like we've just made a connection that I don't want to say fall back on, but we can fall back on in the future, to have a good conversation, to have a genuine conversation, just
Mhm.
like this. And I met Jaden through Ryan Zayance, and Ryan has been one of my greatest friends for the last 6 months. He came to my house. We goose hunted together. He's all the way from
That's
North
sick.
Carolina, and through him I met Jaden, and through following Jaden and Ryan is how I got introduced to you. I got introduced to Biscuit. I got introduced to Dawson, people like that, and it just opened up this because I've said it so many times. I wrote off TikTok for the Marsh Boys account. We have the shop. I post occasional content on there, but
Mhm.
every time I post something, it gets flagged.
Yep.
Every time. I think I have 2 strikes, and I'm just waiting for the third to be like, okay, kick me off this app, please. So I started posting through my personal account. And through that, like I said, I met you, the whole your whole group and stuff like that. And it's opened up this niche inside of a niche. These guys that get on and talk about their experiences and say, I don't care how you do it, this is how I do it. If you want to, I would love for you to try it my way. If not, do your own thing.
Right. Yeah, and I think one of the cool things too with forming these positive relationships with a bunch of other hunters is there's so many guys, and it's like my fiance and I always joke about this because I'm like half the guys I meet that I hunt with, like we like messaged on the internet, we met up in the middle of the night to go like carry guns around the woods and
Yeah.
like and now we're best friends. Um, so people outside of hunting wouldn't get it, but I have all these guys that I could call and be like, "Hey man, I'm rolling through your part of town. What are you doing this weekend?" And they're like, "Well, first of all, you're gonna stay at my house. Like, don't stay at a hotel. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna hang out together. We're gonna go hunt." Like, I could call some of the fellas right now and be like, "Hey, I'm next weekend. I'm coming here," and they'd be like, "Great, we're getting together. Like, let's go hang out." And I feel like in a lot of other, maybe sports hobbies, whatever you want to call it, I feel like that's not the same. Whereas like something about like being together in the outdoors, just like it really does bring people together and it
Yeah.
brings relationships that, are going to last a lifetime.
Yeah. And it was the same way. So I rodeoed. I rode bulls for 7 years all
Sick.
across. And that that lifestyle, not the act of riding bulls, that whole rodeo community was the same way. 9 times out of 10, you could call up your buddy and be like, "Yo, there's an open bull riding down your way, but I don't really have a place to stay." Or a lot of times it was, "I don't have the money for a hotel room." He was like, "Dude, you didn't have to ask. Like, just show up. You can
Right.
sleep on the couch. I don't care what you do."
Yeah.
And with the hunting community, it's the same way. Me and Ryan have both gotten to travel to some really cool places with some really cool people. We slept on couches like that before. It's, hey, we get invited to a hunt, and it's like, well, we kind of screwed up and missed out on a hotel room. It's like, dude, why? Why'd you even try? Like, come sleep on the couch. I'll blow it up an air mattress, whatever it is. It's the close. It's better than the rodeo community. I mean, it's just so inviting. Everybody wants to see 9 times out of 10. Everybody wants to see everybody else succeed, whether no matter what they perceive succeed or success as,
Mhm.
whether it's having a good time, whether it's killing a limit of birds. Everybody wants to help everybody do what they can do.
Yeah, man. And that's like kind of where the PA duck crew, like our group chat kind of started too, was I had gotten, I'd met my buddy Sean when I had no clue what I was doing. I had put out a thing on a Facebook group. 99% of the people told me to go kick rocks.
I was gonna say you actually got help from a state Facebook group. If
Yep.
I posted on New Jersey waterfowlers, I'd get kicked from the group.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, I had 99 people say, get in your truck and go scout. And this
It's
guy,
like, dude, I
Sean,
did that.
right, right. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, dude. Help me. And my buddy Sean was like, I'll show you what I know. And I hunted with Sean. I hunted with his son. Like we became friends. And then one day, Sean and I were going to go hunt. He was like, hey, I'm going to be late, but my buddy Brian, he's going to come. Whatever. Brian and I think there were 4 greenheads dumped into our spread. We dumped 3 of them. And then we became like great friends. Like Brian's coming to my wedding in May.
Awesome.
And like, we became like really good buddies. And Facebook again, my buddy Chase. We were both like looking for someone to hunt with, similar area, and then like we become like best of friends now. Like he's helping me with my move. I helped him move into his new house. Like, and I mean, we all found this thing duck hunting, but then we've all become like genuine friends outside of it,
That's
which is
awesome.
awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the same way. Lance, my buddy Lance from Bucks County Boys, and my buddy Riley, they were both at my wedding. Like,
Yeah.
and I met them through the podcast. I sent them a DM on Instagram, and now if Riley doesn't call me every third day, I yell at him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's been the best part about hunting is, and it seems like every time you meet somebody, like and create a general connection, it just adds fuel to that fire.
Yep.
Like I've never rodeo was a big one. I staled out of rodeo. I hit 7 years and I think I was just tired of landing on my ass. The ground was not as soft as it was when I was 16 versus 20. Uh, and it just got stale for a while where I've been hunting my whole life and now really diving into it the last 4 years, me and Ryan. It's just like I said, every episode is just a whole new adventure. It gets us excited. You
Yep.
know, when Monday or Tuesday comes around of the week, we're not dragging ass anymore. We're happy because we get through the workday and we get to talk about the thing we love to do.
Yeah, dude. I couldn't agree more. And I think like, one thing that I thought was really cool too was when I first got into hunting, like I said, I had watched a lot of 24/7 hunt and I still watch everything that they put out. They did like a meet and greet in Stuttgart, and I was in like southeast Missouri on a hunt with my dad. We drove down to Arkansas, got to meet all the guys. Super genuine. Everybody was super nice.
That's cool.
I was like, I was like, these guys are all great. Like this was cool. And then they do their dove hunt every year in September in Georgia. So 2 years ago, my dad and I was like, hey man, if you drive, I'll pay for everything. And he was like, done. So we went to Georgia on the 24/7 hunt, dove hunt.
That's cool.
And dude, and they took care of my dad so well. And like, it was awesome. And I won one of the door prizes and I like walked up to Renard and he was like, oh shoot. He was like, I remember you from Arkansas, man. And I was like, wait, really? And he was like, yeah, dude, for sure. And then my dad was like, oh, and he was like, oh, he's like, you were with your dad too. And like, he's a bigger name in the hunting industry and he probably meets so many people, but like he was like, dude, I remember you and your dad. Like, and so I was like, okay, this is a cool industry to be a part of.
Yeah, like and I've met a couple really cool people in the rodeo industry because there is just like every industry, there is your average guys, and then there's your superstars.
Yep.
And I've met some of the superstars. I've met the Wright brothers. I've met JB Mooney. Like I've met a lot of really cool people. They will never remember you.
Right.
I met Jeff Foils for the first time 3 years ago on a podcast. We went to the outdoor show. He saw my hat and he goes, "Oh, hey, what's going on, man?" The tag. I don't know if you've heard of. There's a brand called Tagged and Bagged.
Uh-huh.
We had them on the podcast years ago, 2 years ago. I went same outdoor show. I walked from Foils. I bought a call off of them. I walk around the corner, and to me being privy, I didn't even look. I was looking at another booth across the way, and I just hear, "Yeah, what's going on, man?" And I looked over, and it's the guys that Tagged and Bagged. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, what's?" And we had a great conversation. Like those, and it just seems like it ranges. You from the number one guy in the industry. Like I see the way Bo Brooks interacts with Dawson
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. It's incredible to see that most of these people are super genuine.
Yeah, man. I like I said, I met some cool people, and just like you said, it never disappointed. And that is the type of stuff that like, you know, not saying that I would ever be like a huge name in the hunting industry, but that's what like also pushes me to be like, imagine, some kid is 15 and he's getting into duck hunting and he was like, my experience with Mike was so cool that like this makes me keep going.
Yeah,
And dude, I would be like over the moon if somebody was like, you helped me out through a hard time and you like, whatever. That's sick. Like, I love
that's
that.
awesome. Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
sick.
Now with the whole TikTok thing, do you have any aspirations to like really grow, or is it just something that no matter where it takes you, you're just doing for fun?
No matter where it takes me, man, I'll just keep posting. I mean,
I love that.
it's not always hunting stuff. Sometimes it's like, I posted a video about how I quit working at Target when I was in college because it was a funny story. Like I'll post, but
Yeah.
I when I first started too, I was like, I want to blow up and get brand deals and whatever. And now I'm like, dude, it's fun. Like for me to show my personality, and it's fun for me to be transparent about being a beginner.
Yeah.
And if I had no more followers, because I mean, I don't even have a lot anyway. If I had no more followers and I just got to keep making videos and show people like that I'm having a great time and that I'm like doing all of this in the name of the Lord, cool. Don't
Yeah.
care.
That's awesome.
I mean, sure, it would be like super sick to like, be a part of some cool brands. Like Dawson hooked me up with Donnie over at Frog Togs this year, and like that
That's cool.
they have been badass, man. Like Donnie's a cool guy. But if I had nothing at all and I still got to show off that I'm myself and I'm having fun, I would just keep doing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same with here. We have a couple sponsors, and the thing with our sponsors is like we have had some looks at with bigger companies, and they didn't work,
Mhm.
and we were perfectly okay with that because we weren't a good fit. The
Yeah.
three sponsors we carry now, Top Down Decoys being one of them. Top Down Decoys with Jason, who is an awesome human being. He's one of the most genuine guys I've ever met in my life. Knives by Nudes with Thomas Nugent, same thing. And then with Papa Earls. I mean, it is just I always had aspirations like, oh, I want to be sponsored by, let's just throw a brand out, RNT. I want to be sponsored by Banded. Me and Ryan have collectively turned down bigger brands to stay with the guys we're with. And I'm not trying to say that to be like, oh, well, we could gab them if we wanted them. But
No, you're good.
that meant so much. Like the connections we have with the sponsors we have means so much more. Papa Earl sends me a box with like 3 packs of seasoning and a couple hats every year. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that is perfect.
Yep.
Why? Because I used Papa Earl's for years before we even thought about starting Marsh Boys.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's been incredible. Like and with Jimmy Mueller, I run Mueller Choke Twos. I'm pro staffed by them, and it has been incredible. I show up to the show. He comes to New Jersey. He comes to the Great American Outdoor Show. I go there, and hey Brian, what's going on? How's
Yeah.
everything going with the tubes? How's everything going with your hunting season? It's incredible.
Yeah, dude, those are the things that like, make you want to go back and just and keep put your head down and work. And bringing up the Jimmy Mueller thing at the beginning of this year, I went down the rabbit hole of choke tubes, heavy payload, slower velocity shells, dude. And I run Muellers out of my Franke 12 gauge and 20 gauge, dude. And I switched from the decoy to the passing too, a little bit tighter, dude. Like crumpling birds.
Yeah,
I
I
was,
think I commented on one of your. I run strictly. I even turkey hunt with a passing tube.
yeah, dude, that's sick. I, like I said, I kind of went down the rabbit hole and I was like, these are expensive. But then once I shot them, I was like, this is why you're getting a top tier product, dude.
Yes.
And I shot that with flight day ammo almost all duck season last year, for mostly sixes, but then shooting fours as well, dude. And I was like, I'm trying to bulk up on all this stuff so I never have to worry about not getting my hands on it, you know?
Yeah, and with the Mueller tubes, not. I mean, I'm personally pro staff by them. They don't do anything for Marsh Boys, but I've shot so many choke tubes. I've shot Carlson's, Pattern Master, whatever, Briley's, whatever you want to say. I've probably shot something out of it. I've never shot anything more consistent
Yep.
than a Mueller tube, and I've never seen Pattern Master, not throwing shade at specifically Pattern Master because I think they are really nice tubes.
Mhm.
I've never seen Pattern Master post a video of the owner of the company shooting an eider at 85 yards.
Dude, some of his shots are crazy.
It's
I'm like,
nuts.
you can see a bird there. I'm like,
Yeah,
what the heck?
shot an old squall at 78 yards. It's like, congrats, man. I
Crazy.
can't see 78 yards.
Right. I was gonna say, dude, I can't even. I had two eye surgeries within the past like 3 years. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, I had a cornea transplant in my left eye. It was like a whole mess. But so now my far sighted vision is not great. So
Mm-hmm.
when, like I said, when he posts those, I'm like, is there? Are we sure there's a bird there, Jimmy? And then all of a sudden you see it like falling. I'm like, oh, dude, that's badass.
And I don't think I've said this yet. What's hilarious is so we go with Jeff Coates every year on a sea duck hunt,
Sick.
and it's so fun. He is the best personality in the waterfowl industry. I mean, what you see on Instagram, he is going to bust your balls with this story. We sucked this year. I mean, trash. We should have had our limit by 9 o'clock. We were there till 11, and we're still like 3 short. Well, the first couple videos he took, he sent to Jimmy Mueller. And I was like, no, you didn't. He was like, haha, yeah, I did. Because Jimmy said, we might have to look at your contract, buddy. But no, I mean, it's just, and I don't mean to boast about anything, but it's just awesome the connections I've made and the connections I'm sure you've made. And it's, like I said, our little niche inside this big niche is just fantastic.
Yeah, man, and those like I said, those are the relationships that keep me going.
Yeah.
Like that, if I said, "Hey, man, I'm done with socials, whatever," if I texted that in my Yinzers group message, Dawson Biscuit and Jaden would be like, "You better shut your old ass up," because I'm the oldest one, so I get called Pawpaw and Unk and all that shit. So
Hell
they
yeah.
would be like, "You better get your old ass up and start posting some videos," So it's cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, before we wrap this up, I do want to ask, is there, when you think about, so you said you've been duck hunting, goose hunting for about 4 years, right?
Yeah, this will be my fourth season coming up. Yep.
Oh, so 3 full years.
Mhm.
Is there one memory? Now, I know I asked in the first year. Is there one memory that, let's just say you're 80-year old and you remember, is there one memory that really sticks in front of your mind? It's like, I want to tell my grandkids about this one day.
Yes. So this year, I know I'm gonna talk. Like I said, I'm gonna pick out two.
Do
Um,
it. Pick four. I don't care.
my dad and I every year we go on a guided hunt up in the Finger Lakes in New York, with my buddy Louie at 11 Lakes Outfitters. Louie's the man, but uh, this year I told my dad I just want to watch you kill a duck. And on the way up, all he kept saying was, he's like, I'm going to shoot the shit out of something. Like, he's all fired. And he doesn't, like I said, he doesn't get fired up. He just goes to have fun. And this bird, first light, just swam in the middle of the long lines. And I was like, old man, you better shoot that thing. And he shot it. And it's so funny because we always make fun of people, like our friends and I, we make fun of each other for shooting mergansers. He water swatted a hen merg. And the smile on his face, dude, because like I said, all week leading up to that hunt, he was like, I'm shooting the shit out of something. He water swatted a hen merg, and he was the happiest I've seen him in a long time. And it was a hen merg, but he was so pumped to shoot it. I was like, dude, I'm so happy that I got to witness this, man. And then this year, my buddy Chase and I had a lot of big hunts this year. But Brian from Migration Waterfowl, him and I, we went hunting. The one zone opened for the second split, and I shot my first mallard limit. I shot 3 greenheads and a hen and a bonus goose. And that morning, him and I, like, dude, the way that it worked, just birds backpedaling into the decoys. I like couldn't have drawn it up better myself. Like when you think of like a hunt, and then like I said, we shot a bonus goose, and he was like, dude, I'm so happy for you. And I was like over the moon. And I was like, I could stop hunting right now this season. And those two memories just made my whole year for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
It was sweet. I just, like I said, I'm almost at like a loss for words for it because I was just so fired up.
Yeah. Now, is there anything new moving into 25 or 26, 27 season that you're excited for?
Um, I think so. Towards the end of the season, my buddy Chase and I, we were like talking, and we were like, dude, we're like, not that I'm like a professional by any means, but I was like, we have made such big strides compared to where we first were years ago. And I was like, I'm just excited. I have, more spots. I know like more of what to look for. I know how to read birds more. I just like have learned and grown so much as an individual that I'm just excited to like kind of put all of like my hard work and like new skills like to test it out in the field. That's my biggest thing.
You ever notice like you really learn it like the last two hunts of the year? You pick something up and you're like, man, I wish I'd have known that October 1st. What the hell? Now I have to wait 8 months and I'm probably going to forget it by then.
Dude, my buddy Chase and I, when we hunted our last late goose hunt of the year, it was a property that we have permission on. We didn't touch it except for like, I don't know. I forget when we hunted. We only hunted it once this year. And we saw just tornadoes of mallards. And granted, it was like after the duck season was over, but I was like, you mean to tell me we never came to scout this place one time and we saw 250 mallards today? And we both were dying. We're like, of course we did. Like we got so caught up going other places that a place that we have permission on, we didn't even look to hunt, and
Yep.
there were just birds everywhere.
Oh, there's a place I used to hunt when we first started. It was so easy to walk in. You could walk across this whole little pond, and the birds would roost in the back, and you get very lucky. And a lot of times you'd kill some birds going over, crossing over into the meadow. It was all green winged teal and some mallards and some wood ducks. That's all it was from the middle of October to January. If you go back on the Marsh Boys page 2, 3 years ago now, there's pictures of pintails, gadwalls, green wings, stuff like that,
Dang.
shovelers, and I saw them like February 14th, like right after Valentine's Day. And I'm like, what the hell, man? So I don't hunt that spot anymore just because it's so easily accessible. You got to get there like 2 in the morning to hunt it.
Right.
And I'm just way too lazy to do that now. I will go goose hunt my uncle's field before I do that. Unless I'm going like coastal and stuff. That's a lot. That's fun for me. But anyway, it was always like, it's great coming here to take pictures of them, but I'd rather have a pintail in my hands.
Right. I'm the same way, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah. What's your favorite duck? That maybe what's your favorite duck you shot, and what's like your number one bucket list bird within reason?
I really want to shoot like a stud pintail.
Okay.
I haven't seen, like personally when I've been out, I haven't seen a pintail. Never seen one up close. I have a funny story about my buddy shooting one and texting me pictures of it while I was at work, so I was really pissed.
That's incredible.
Dude, it's so funny. I didn't talk to him for weeks, but I would say my favorite duck, dude, honestly, is a wood duck.
I
And I know
love
a lot
that.
of people don't shoot woodies, and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna. Dude, when you hear this little butterball screaming through the trees, I'm like, it feels like hunting season.
Yep.
And
I agree 100%.
first duck I ever shot, but when you hear them screaming through the trees, I'm like, dude, okay, it's on for the next 3 months. Yep. That's what it makes me feel like.
Well, look, I appreciate, we've gone pretty good ways. I appreciate you coming on. No, that's not a bad thing at all. I promise. No, don't apologize. I promise it's a great thing. I love talking to you. I had a great time.
Me too.
Go ahead, shout out, how to find you on socials, Instagram, TikTok. I don't know if you have a YouTube or not, but go ahead and tell people how to find you.
I don't. Hopefully I'll have a couple turkey YouTube videos up. I'm gonna cool. try the YouTube thing. You can follow me at the Great Pomaibo on TikTok and Instagram. I post on TikTok probably more than I should. I'm on there all the time. I try to keep up with Instagram too. If you like some maybe I'm a little annoying, you like some personality and just keeping it real in the duck hunting scene, then I'm your guy.
Yeah. Well, look, like I said, I really enjoyed having you on, and I hope we can have you on again in the future. I really hope we can get you over to New Jersey, get some hunts in.
Dude, I'm down. We'll definitely figure something out for this year.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Turn it off here. This is always a trick. Like I said, I need